The following broadcast is a Nighthawk Network presentation. This is Get Off My Lawn Live. Join us as we talk trending topics, world and local issues, and the conversations that we need to talk about as people. Get Off My Lawn Live is a Nighthawk Network presentation. Good evening, everyone. It is your boy E Buck in the building. Come to talk to y'all yet again. This is Get Off This Lawn Live. And of course, we are here a little early because this is a special edition. One, because it's not going to be another long one. It's going to be a short one, but informative because, of course, one, I have to update people on what's going on with my current situation, but also want to give a special announcement as to what's going on with the show in general and with my network. So I kind of want to have those two discussions and quickly update you on my thoughts about the election. Basically, something I was going to do last week, but of course, real life kind of came into play. So that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. Definitely thank all of you who tuned in last week. Very much appreciate it. As a result of that, the good news I have to give you all is that we did it. We reached the goal that we needed to take care of the financial situation that I was having. First and foremost, I want to thank God for putting it on you guys' heart to help me out in that situation. From talking to many of you last week, particularly some people I haven't talked to in quite some time. Clearly, I'm not the only person going through things. Some of you guys going through some very difficult situations as well. Some of you've had some very difficult deaths in the family in the course of the last couple of weeks. So definitely, you guys are in my prayers in regards to that. Some of you basically have some financial situations of your own. I really wish I was in a position to kind of help some of you, and the fact that some of you, despite that, still reached out to help me, I am very extremely grateful for. Tomorrow I'll be able to take care of things knowing that it's all situated, and I can basically go into the holiday knowing that we are okay for me. There are still other things that need to be dealt with in terms of what's going on in my whole scenario, but that immediate emergency has been met thanks to basically me getting some work in and through the efforts of those of you who chose to look out for me in that way. I thank you from the very bottom of my heart. Thank you very, very, very much. I do hope because you have blessed me, your blessings will run abundantly because of that, because you just don't know how difficult it was for me to come on the air and put some of that out there. Of course, there are a couple of you who are not pleased that I put some of my situation out here to begin with. To you guys, I say desperate times call for desperate measures. If I hadn't done it, I probably would not have gotten what I needed. So I don't regret it from that standpoint. I do, however, regret letting a couple people know who I thought I could entrust with some of the information about it, and you in turn basically just seem to want to know just to know. It was just part of the gossip column that is your lives and what have you. Particularly a couple of family members that I let know. Um, if you really wasn't trying to help or willing to help or just didn't really care that much when you found out all that what was going on, I almost kind of wish you told me because I really regret telling a couple of you about any of it. Truth be told, I'm just gonna be honest about that. If you know who you are in particular, you have my number because obviously we talk. So feel free to discuss. But that's how that came off to the couple people in particular that that was about. To those of you who really did care but just were unable to help, I still have love and respect for that. The fact that you reached out and still want to know what you could do to help. Those of you who couldn't help financially, but basically sent loads of information and possibilities and things and whatnot. I definitely thank you guys as well. It all helped. And some other additional blessings did come of that information, by the way. So thank you very much, particularly to Miss Pat, who basically is definitely somebody in your life that is, if she's in your life and she says she's going to help, she goes out of her way to do just that. And I like to personally thank you, Miss Pat. In terms of the people who did look out, most of them chose to remain anonymous, and I will leave it at that. I do know for those of you who definitely need that money to return to you, that most definitely will happen because, like I said, some of you were really not in a place to do so. So I'm thankful that you did indeed do so despite that. It is a good thing, and I will say to any of you who are able to help anybody this holiday season, if you are able and willing to do so, I encourage you to do so as well. Because, there's not just me, there's many people out here not doing quite as well as they could. And it's not because they're not putting forth any effort or not trying to fix their situation. Times are tough right now. Prices are high, and some people pay is the same, or some people's pay is less. There's a lot of people in the last month or so that's been laid off. When you look at places like Amazon, like Twitter, like Facebook, who laid off people by the thousands, and now they go into the holidays having to find new work, and that's a lot to have to deal with, and still try to have some type of joy and mirth throughout the rest of the situation. So to them, we definitely will pray. And like I said, if you're able to help any people along those lines, I encourage you to do so. That being said, like I said, I'm thankful. And again, thank you guys very much for all you have done. So that's pretty much the update in regards to that. We'll move on now to basically the regular part of the show. I kind of want to talk about what went on during the elections. I would definitely say that for those of you who are in states that are largely one way or the other, them being either Republican or Democrat, I think for the most part, you guys got what you wanted. You got out and voted, and basically most of the candidates that were incumbents or what have you, they did indeed win. Now, do I agree with all of your choices? No. I'm very happy with how our state turned out in terms of governor, secretary of state, uh, attorney general, and so on. All the people that I voted for won. I was thankful for that. Basically, Michigan definitely taking a turn more toward the Democrat, as not only did the Democrats win a lot of the Senate and House of Representative seats, but also in the state Senate and House of Representatives, which should make it a lot easier for things to get done these next few years in regards to what we got going, which is good. Another thing is that overall, it's still a mixture of what's going to happen next couple of years because it looks like the House of Representatives is going to be Republican led and the Senate is going to be Democrat led. And considering we got certain things done the last couple of years, I don't see as much getting done these next couple of years. Basically, where Biden will have to somehow make adjustments and be able to defend is the fact that he ran, and a good part of his campaign was to find bipartisanship with Congress. He basically sold us as a person who's been a career politician, particularly in Congress, and being able to get some of his old cronies to come to the table and agree to disagree and get stuff done. That definitely will be tested these next couple of years. He'll definitely be called out about that. For some of you, there is, of course, that elephant in the room, which basically came to light last week, last Tuesday, when a specific former president announced that he was running for re-election. Those of you who know the show and know the network know that we don't approve that message in any way, shape, or form. I don't think we have any Republican representatives in the network in terms of the shows, that is. Yeah, I'm sure there are a few of you who are Republicans that are definitely looking forward to him running again. I just ask you that for those of you who have those thoughts that feel like he is the solution to the current problems, when I ask how much of the current problems were kind of his fault. And of course, the biggest problem being COVID, of course, that was nobody's fault, at least nobody here. But do understand that a lot of today's issue, particularly with the economy and layoffs, all that is COVID related in one way, shape, or form in terms of the whole pandemic and what happened. And then the second thing you have to think about is okay, how much in that first administration where a lot of you tout the fact that, yeah, we were making money and tax breaks and all that. Yeah, that was on him, but how much of the rest of that economy was just a carryover from the Obama administration? Ask yourself that question. And then once you ask those two questions, then look even further into all the things that have been said and done, particularly on January 6th, after the fact. Those are all things that if I was running against the former president, would definitely bring up and analyze. And now that you have taken the time to lay out that you're running, the candidate, whether it be the current president or whoever runs on the Democratic side, you have a good year and a half of tapes and tweets and stuff to break down and get your arguments ready so that when you do have these debates, you can lay them all out for the public to see. In an ideal world, I would like to think enough people will vote again to ensure that he is not going to be the president, because I really have no faith that anybody's going to indict him for anything whatsoever between now and then. Hey, Dr. Marley, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the show. Just basically give my basic thoughts on the past election and thanking everybody who helped out my situation. I appreciate them very much. When all is said and done, like I said, I don't think we get much further or fall much further these next couple of years when you look at how it all went down. But we still are a very divided country. I think we definitely he says exactly. Did it work out? Yes, everything worked out, Dr. Marley. We got everything that we needed. Thank you very much for asking, and definitely thank you for your counsel and your part in that whole endeavor. Yes, so far so good, my friend. You know, there's still other parts of that to work on, but of course, you know that being my spiritual counselor and advisor. So, you know, we've had that discussion. Of course, we will discuss again. But yeah, I just hope that nothing really outlandish happens these next couple of years, and then of course, as we get closer to the actual presidential election, there is that. Yep, that is my current motto. A couple people hate when I say that, but so far so good in regards to that. Win, lose, or draw, I know God got me, and like I said, I have to remember to be thankful at this moment and prayerful, just as I was when I was down, because He did make things happen. He continues to make a way where I see no way, and I'm very thankful and blessed because of that. Absolutely. And hopefully we all will be in these next couple of years as we try to figure out where to go from there. In the ideal world, personally, I think it's just time for new leadership altogether. And definitely shout out to Nancy Pelosi for coming to that conclusion, although I do understand that part of what happened to her husband may have brought her to that as well. Also, the fact that she's in her 80s and basically probably tired of all the political fights, but the fact that she has chosen to step down from leadership in Congress and just basically be basic Congressperson A. I wish her well in that endeavor. Of course, her opinion is still going to be highly sought after these next couple of years of her term, and you know, there's that. But ideally, I would like to see younger people run from that, not to be an ageist or elitist or anything like that, but I just think it's time. I think a lot of these older people that's been in politics 50, 60 years, they're not able to grasp what is needed in today, in 2022. And that is why the division is what it is, because they grew up during times of this division and they've carried a lot of those same thoughts and mindsets throughout their terms in Congress or presidency or what have you. So that's something to think about as well. Because it could be when all said and done, we get too entirely different candidates than what it appears is going to be now. Basically, two over 75-year-olds running for office. But we'll see what happens there. Nonetheless, that is my political discussion. Now we'll move on to the third part of the show. As I said, this was not going to be a long show. Um, I would like to announce that this is going to be one of the last episodes of Get Off This Lawn Live. And I know that might come as a shock to some of you. Some of you, y'all might rejoice in that, like, good, I got tired of whatever this was. Well, I will tell you part of why this will be one of the final episodes because I too have become tired of what this has become. Let me explain. Basically, when I first started Get Off This Lawn Live, which eventually led into the whole formation of the Nighthawk Network, I was in a different frame of mind than I am now, almost 3 years later. Remember, it was during the pandemic. I had always had a great interest in wanting to start a podcast even before pandemic, but also remember that it was pretty much a perfect storm to do so. I was unemployed. I was basically trying to make sure that I stayed busy by learning stuff on the computer. And once I gained a quick understanding of how to start one and what have you, I was that. You're going to have to come on my show. We will work it together, get much more topics. And absolutely, I am more than willing to do that when I am available, Dr. Marley. You know, we always have good discussions, and your shows always have good discussions. Keep in mind, in making this announcement, people, I'm not announcing that I'm done podcasting, not by any stretch. In an ideal world, if I'm blessed enough to live another 15, 20, 30 years, I still plan on doing just that. I do plan on continue the podcast. Thank you, Miss Pat, for that. And also thank you. Like I said, I know you probably missed the early part of the show when I thanked you individually, but thank you for all that you did and all the information you sent. Some of it was quite helpful in regards to other things, so I appreciate that. I understand that too, says Dr. Marlon. Absolutely. So let me give you guys basically a synopsis. When it all said and done, a lot of things that I talked about on the show, those are pretty much opinions that will be solid with me. In other words, I don't see too much happening at this point in my life where I'm going to change a lot of how I feel about certain things and certain people. So those things have been discussed. A lot of the show basically became more discussions about COVID and politics, and that's not really the show that I intended on doing. I really wanted to talk about more personal issues, more people issues than the actual news of the day. But oftentimes it became that. And you know, some people you wanted that, so I basically started to give the people what they wanted, which is why it became more of that type of show. I mean, even as I was ventured out into other media platforms, I basically became the news guy or the current events guy in regards to politics and whatnot. That's not what I wanted for the show overall. And not to say in the future I'm not going to discuss such things, because I will. That's part of who I am. But I really wanted a show that kind of ventured out into a variety of different subjects. My one regret for the show is that I really wanted to have more guests on, and I really wanted to talk more about my city, Detroit, in particular. I understand on certain platform, people felt like, okay, you always talking about Detroit and how good it is. I ain't heard it good. I lived in Detroit and what have you. I am so displeased with how you feel about it because Detroit, I feel, was once a great city. It is on the verge of doing that again. And there's a lot of good things happening in the city, and I really want to highlight that. So one of the podcasts that I will eventually do is going to be called About My Detroit, where basically I take you around town and show you different things that's popping up in the city and give you my opinions and perhaps even interview some of the people that's opening some of these businesses or live in some of these neighborhoods. I really would want to do that. Also, I would like to have a podcast that discuss entertainment news. You know, basically what's going on in Hollywood or music or whatever. I would like to have some type of podcast to discuss music. I'm not quite sure how that would work, especially since a lot of these podcasts don't loan themselves to utilizing music in that way. That's kind of one of the things I tried to do on some of my other media platforms. Let me get some of these comments in. God wants you to have faith in Him. I absolutely do, God, have faith in God. I wouldn't have got anywhere with that if not that, Miss Pat. I do understand that. Never let a wishbone go where a backbone should. Understood, you. I get that, says Dr. Marley. That's cool. Yes, do that. Show your city off. Absolutely. That's going to be awesome. Yes, like I said, the whole thing though, people, is I really want to find the time and put the effort into making those good shows or podcasts. I really had the time back during pandemic. I don't have the time right now because primarily I'm trying to work out the rest of my financial situations in my life. I would like to think that there's good things going on. There's some good people in my existence. Several of you I've met because of the show, so I would never be regretful of that. I never would have met these good people that you see here in the comments. I wouldn't have met my friend that I miss dearly every day, H2. The person that truly inspired me to do this, because I remember making that post that fateful day. What if I did a podcast? And the first person to answer was a very good friend of mine that I also lost during the pandemic, and I miss her every day as well. And it's been difficult, particularly in these times. I found other people to confide in, but those two particular people, in particular, they had an understanding of not only my situations but me that many people probably never will. I have to go for now. I'm getting ready to be a motivational coach, so I'm in a class. Love you. Thank you, Dr. Mark. Thank you for checking in. And again, thank you for all your help and your prayers. Very much appreciated. Like I said, I'm not gonna keep y'all too much long. Anyway, I just want y'all to know that there are two more shows for Get Off This Long Live that we're going to do. One we're going to do probably next couple weeks, where I basically give you a perspective of all the things I talked about. I'm basically gonna call that one "Get Off This Long Live," the final month, where I kind of wrap it all up. Because one of the things I hate as a person that loves my television, yet another show I want to try to work out somewhere down the line about old school TV. That's something me and H2 talked about all the time doing a show like that. Some shows they did not have the proper series finale. I will do my best to Get Off This Long Live a good season finale. Not quite the one I would want to do, because I think that would take way more time than I have right now. But basically, we'll give you a kind of summary of where it all went. And then, of course, I have to do the one last show to honor my good friend H2, as I promised I would. So I also will need time to kind of break that down and get our clips together. Hopefully, invite some of H2's friends like Miss Pat and whatnot to be on the show, or at least call into the show to kind of give their thoughts on Miss Elena Hologram, Mr. Derek Smith, however you knew him or her. Because that is important. There would not have been a Nighthawk Network without H2. That's why I must definitely honor her that one last time before I wrap this part of my podcast journey up. Do know there's other little small things I kind of want to do. I kind of want to do like some type of TikTok or real version of a podcast where I just take a couple minutes and break something down right quick. I know a couple of y'all asked, why was I not on TikTok or Snapchat like that? So I kind of want to develop that. And of course, do know that we are still doing Game Time Audible. That will still be a show. It'll still be me and Hugh. We'll still be on Wednesday. We might actually break the show up into two parts to do two shows. We have that in the works. So no, like I said, I'm definitely not done podcasting. I'm just basically going to wrap this part of it up and move on to other things. The devil is trying to interfere because God is getting ready to bless you tremendously. I agree with that. You have not been the only person to tell me that in the last few days. I really admire you. You are a true friend. I thank you, Miss Pat. I try to do right by people. There are people out there, well, I'm not even gonna say people. One person in particular, you know who you are, who feel maybe I'm not quite as good a person. They have issue. They feel like I'm being fraudulent in regards to certain things. That person knows who they are. We've discussed. We'll discuss more. It is what it is, sir. It is what it is. But anyway, all that being said, we about to wrap up this particular show. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow as usual to do Game Time Audible, talk some football, some basketball, even a little World Cup. I gotta be honest, y'all. I still don't really get the whole soccer thing, but we've had some discussions, you and I, with some people, particularly people from other countries, and then they gave us a little different perspective. So we're gonna kind of share some of that with y'all tomorrow. And as I said, give me a couple weeks. We'll be back with the second to last show, and like I said, we're gonna try to get the uh the H2 episode probably to you on the 13th of December. Tentatively, we'll make it for that date. There may be things and situations that cause that not to happen on that day, so I will keep you posted. But we definitely will be working on that project very thoroughly. So that being said, this has been Get Off This Long Live Special Edition. If this happens to be the last episode you catch, again, I thank anybody and everybody who's not only watched the show, but have actually been a guest on the show or called in a couple times when we had call in or what have you. I thank all my co-hosts that I've had thus far. Definitely, you have made that experience something that I would cherish. And the beautiful thing about it is on YouTube. So if you missed any past episodes, you want to check them out before we get to the last episode, by all means, do that. You know that I was my sports. Interesting. As in Iowa University, do you know I almost went to Iowa University at one point? I have to tell that story one day. But then again, during that time, I think my mind changed every other week as to where I was going to school because I was receiving partial scholarships and automatic acceptance and whatnot. That seemed like lifetimes. But nonetheless, people, again, thank you. And definitely, again, special shout out to all the people that looked out for me in regards to that situation. Thank you very much. I will indeed have a good holiday. Thanks to you all in particular. Again, like I said, I won't reveal who exactly did what because many of you have asked me not to, so I will not. But it definitely was people, some of which I knew would look out, and some I was surprised by very much so. But definitely glad all the same that they all did what they did or said what they said along the way, whether they looked out with financial or just with encouraging words or what have you. Thank you and God bless you to all of you. So, with that being said, I am off to lay it down because tomorrow, another working day for me. But I will see y'all tomorrow evening for Game Time Audible with Sports Guru Hugh Lee. And until then, and the next time I see y'all, which should be in a couple of weeks for this show, this is Get Off This Long Live. I am your host, at least for the next month or so. E Beasy, as always, be safe. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. Be safe in all your travels to and fro. Have some delicious food. Enjoy that football and all that good stuff. If you drink, please don't drive. Um, be mindful if you're going out for Black Friday. Be aware of your surroundings. The scammers and the thieves like to come out during them times, so please be careful. And we will see you guys very soon. God bless, and as always, deuces.